Hi folks, welcome back. This lecture is a brief overview of the third essay, The Ethical Perspective. And it's a really exciting project because it's the first time you really get to seriously apply all of these rhetorical concepts that we've been reading about, discussing, and analyzing in our previous essays. Now in brief, what you'll be looking at here is an ethical dilemma or an ethical situation, some situation where it's not clear-cut what's the right and the wrong thing to do. A lot of real ethical decisions have to be made, and it becomes clear that you'll never be able to make everybody happy. Usually there's lots of different groups involved, and what's good for one group will be bad for another group. So an example would be, let's say that they want to build a new factory here in St. Cloud. And the factory would be a great boon to the local economy. It would provide lots of new jobs, let's say, might bring in people from other cities to work here in St. Cloud. You know, big boost to the all the sort of economic factors would be increased. On the negative, though, let's say it would also bring a lot of pollution. Let's say you know, there was a fear that it might contaminate the groundwater, might put a lot of stuff into the air. Let's say might really drive up traffic, and you know, lots of CO2 emissions and all this sort of thing. And so you see, what would be great for the people that need jobs would be bad for the people that are concerned about the environment. So most situations are like that, right? You can't make everybody happy. So what a rhetorician has to do is, if you're on, you know, the side of the bringing the factory in, you have to find out, you know, what are the facts? How can you arrange those facts, present those facts, and tailor the presentation to a certain audience? So your presentation will be different if you're talking to city planners versus the general public. You know, you can imagine writing a little pamphlet for just a common person in the city versus a more formal presentation if you want to talk to the business leaders and city council leaders and so on. Okay, so for this project, I'm going to make your life a lot easier by limiting the selection of topics. So I basically want you to use one of two tools for this. One, and the one I recommend the most, is called CQ Researcher. And basically what this is kind of a weekly reader on steroids, if you remember that. Probably not, but anyway, it gives you all kinds of current events, hot topics. There's a huge variety to choose from, and you open up these reports and they give you the sort of both sides, or hopefully more than one side, 2 or 3 sides to an issue, and lots of research, data, tables, graphs, and references to articles and things. Pretty much everything you need to start writing your article. Of course, you'll have to decide what side of the debate you're on, and then start to use those materials there to build up your case. There's also one called Opposing Viewpoints, a very similar kind of deal. You know, if you want to use that, I don't really care. They're both great resources. But what I don't want you to do is just pick a topic like abortion, gun control, something that's been done a million times already. You know, use these tools, find something that's actually current, not just that sort of stereotypical, first-year essay. Okay, the specifications of parameters, it has to be at least 1,000 words. So between 1,000, 1,200 words long, same as all the other essays. You do need to take a definite position, so you'll have your thesis statement. Don't just say you're going to give both sides of the argument. You know, actually take a position, then try to back it up. Now you'll need to find at least 3 peer-reviewed articles, and those articles should be available to you within that CQ Researcher report. So if you read it carefully, hopefully they will give you some articles in there, and then it's just a matter of finding them. So you can't just quote the CQ Researcher page. You'd actually track down the articles that they use to build that report. And the easiest way to do that is just to write down the title of the article, the author, maybe they give the journal where it's from, and then just use the Ask a Librarian tool. I know I've talked about this a few times, but it just doesn't get much easier than this. So you just give the librarians that information, and then they'll be able to find the articles for you, and then you'll have it. Alternatively, you can try to use the databases yourself. Just remember to check the peer-reviewed box. Make sure you'll be sure you're looking at peer-reviewed sources. And if you don't know what peer-reviewed sources are, you need to go back and watch the lecture I did about peer reviews. Okay, the audience for the piece is a little group I'm calling the SCSU Student Scholar Community. So imagine this is kind of a local journal. It's not quite purely academic, but it is an intelligent audience of your peers, people who have a more sophisticated view of these issues. A couple of tips for you. I do have a link in the assignment to the wiki text about researching. And you can also look at the sample portfolios, but just and some general tips. Usually students do fine on this essay, but the ones that do poorly, it's usually because they didn't really take enough time looking at CQ researcher and opposing viewpoints to find something that really interests them. So don't just pick the first thing that pops up. Go through the reports, look at 2 or 3 different ones and try to find something that really interests you. I'd also advise you, do not pick something that you already know a lot about. If you have a strong opinion on something already, you probably won't be very good. It won't be very good for you to pick an essay on that topic. So for example, if you are really, really passionate about gun control, don't do gun control, because it'll be very hard for you to be objective, and it'll be very obvious that you've already made up your mind before you even start to do the research. So pick something that you aren't as familiar with, or you don't really have a strong opinion about already. It'll be a lot easier for you to be objective in your paper that way. And also, just to reiterate, you do need to pick a current topic, not something real general like abortion, gun control, gay marriage, legalizing marijuana. I get like 50 of those every year, so I don't want to read those anymore. So try to find something a little bit more interesting, a little bit more unusual, something that'll be maybe informative for me as well as for you. It's one great thing about doing these projects. I like to learn something too. Okay, so that's about all I can think of for this. If you do have questions about the project, please don't hesitate to ask. Remember, you can ask me questions on the Canvas forums or right here on YouTube. Or, if worse comes to worse, you can email me or come to the office, and happy to help. Also, don't forget to go to the right place if you need help with these assignments. They are more than qualified to help you. And then don't forget about the Ask a Librarian tool if you need help to find more sources. Anyway, that's all for now, and please do let me know, though, if you have questions.